Hello everybody, sorry, a little bit late there. I was trying to set the zoom size on my laptop and it was all wrong. So all the chat was really, really tiny. I was just like, there's no way I'm going to be able to read that. But there we go. Good evening everybody, hope everybody is okay and welcome to Sunday Night Live on this, I think it's the 25th of August. That must be right, 25th of August. I had better switch my phone off because I forgot. Yeah, as you can tell, I'm a professional at such things. Anyway, hope everyone is okay. It's been absolutely gloriously hot and sunny here in Edinburgh, and there are a lot of folk here already in the chat, I can see. So I'm going to go up to the top of the chat and see who came in first. It was Thomas. Thomas, you're always first. Somebody's got to get in there earlier than Thomas and try and beat him. But Thomas was here first by saying good morning. And then we had Bob and Tony, and John Lake is here, who says, it's Sunday with Johnny. Yep, that's me. And Richard has made it to the show as well. Richard Mitzelar, good to see you. And Mike is here at Peace Valley Audio. He says hello. A professional what? I'm a professional idiot. That's what I am. And I just pretend to be other things. And Deer Creek Audio, that would be my good friend Chris, is here as well. Well, everybody, you're probably all wanting to know what announcement. In fact, Chris actually says, what announcement? Well, you're going to find out in just a moment. Because I've got a few things that I need to talk about and tell you about, which is very exciting. It's actually really exciting news, and it's just happened in, or at least the genesis, I should say, of what you're about to hear about, just came together really in the last, must be about the last 10 days, I would say. So it's very exciting, and it came out of nowhere. So it's all very exciting. I've barely been able to contain myself, and I wanted to immediately tell everybody all about it in all its glorious technical details. But I'm not going to do that. And the reason why I'm not going to do that is because I want to build up nicely towards this particular thing that I'm talking about. And this particular thing that I'm talking about when I launch this particular thing. So I wanted to give you guys plenty of kind of notice about what's going to be coming and when it's going to be coming, so that you can prepare yourselves and so that I can prepare myself as well. And I figure the more, if I talk about it now, then it is out there in the public domain. You guys know about it. I know about it. And, I have to hold myself to account to the fact that I have told everybody about this publicly. And so that is kind of what the story is. Mika is here as well, who says, nice to be here tonight. No drive to Orlando tomorrow. Project finished. Awesome. Well done. It's always good when a project finishes and you don't need to go and drive anywhere to do any addendums or extras or anything like that. It's always good. Love it when that happens. So, a couple of things before we get started. I've spent the last 3 months, yes, 3 months, trying to get me another new one of these. Yes, it's a passport. Now, I've got my old one here, which I'm just reaching across to try and show you. Now, other than other than the bit that's clipped off at the side, so that basically it now is invalid, because this is my old one. The old one says, or at least would say at the top here, European Union, and the new one does not, because we are leaving the European Union, sadly. But anyway, that is that. I finally have a new passport after several errors and screw-ups by the Home Office. And I actually finally have a passport that's actually correct, because that was the problem. It wasn't correct. They had sent it out and it wasn't correct. So anyway, that's that. So that's very cool, because I am going to be going over to Europe a few times this autumn time, fall, you guys call it. So that's one of the things I'm going to be doing. But the big announcement is coming up in just a minute. I'm just going to wait until we've got a few more people in here before we do that. His Royal Faciousness is here, and he says, "Hi, y'all." I can't really do that accent, but there. That's the best I can do. John Lake says, "Be afraid, be very afraid." Yes, when I have a passport, be very afraid. I have several passports, but I can't really talk about that, because that would be against the law. Deer Creek says 48-track studio with 2 Studer A800 synced and an SSL board, a series. Wow, exciting. Talking to Mika. Yes, awesome. So it looks like Boris will screw the pooch. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. I'm not really going to get into the politics of it all, but let's just say it's going to make touring Europe and all of that, it's going to make that a little bit more interesting. Basically as interesting as it was in the 70s and the 80s for people from the UK, bands, artists from the UK, to be able to travel Europe. It was complicated, to say the least, back then. And then since we've been in the European Union, it's kind of, and we had freedom of movement and all that, it was much easier. But yeah, we're going back in that general direction, unfortunately, for better, for worse. But I'm not really going to get into the politics of all of that. Face will suffice. Okay. F-A-C-E. Oh, well, that's F major 7. I could call you that. Could I call you F major 7? There you go, F major 7. That's you. You cannot play my chord on the keyboard because it's not spelled that way. But there we go. Ken Moss is here as well, and he says, "Hi, everybody." Let's go and see how many people we actually have in here in total. Oh, we've got 24. Awesome. 24 people watching the show. So I better get on and tell you guys what the story is. Okay. I don't want to give too much away, because if I give too much away, then there'll be nothing for me to build up towards, and the launch itself will be a bit of a damp squib, to say the least. So, and I really don't want that. But I'm going to give you a launch date of something that I am starting working on now. So here goes. Mike says, "I had my last passport when I was 12. Wow. Good grief. So, I have acquired an investor, which is quite exciting. I didn't imagine anything like that would happen, but somebody has very generously agreed to help me move my business forward and basically help me finish off things that I had started 2 years ago and had kind of unfortunately ground to a halt and almost died, in actual fact. Some of you may know what I'm talking about a little bit. And I'm talking about what I had been calling my VIP membership. You guys remember that? And I had, if you may remember, I had a launch time back, I think maybe 18 months ago. And then for a whole variety of reasons, everything kind of went pear-shaped, and I couldn't finish it. I couldn't actually get it launched because it was fraught with some technical difficulties that we just couldn't overcome, and I didn't know how to overcome it. And we were kind of stuck for about 18 months. Anyway, I kind of ended up having to put this whole VIP thing to bed a bit, put it on the shelf, and hope that one day I would be able to resurrect it. Well, I can tell you now that I am now able to resurrect it. So the VIP is back. It is back and being developed. It's being developed in a much better way than it was when I was just trying to do it on my own with a good friend of mine who was helping me as well. But I think my friend was a little bit out of his depth as well. So between the two of us, me hopelessly way out of my depth because I knew nothing about developing anything like this. My friend kind of knew some of the programming language required to build such a thing. We were kind of floundering a bit, and then we encountered a brick wall that we just couldn't get past. Anyway, long story short, I'm now able to bring it to you guys, and we're shooting for a launch of the first week of November. I can't give you a specific date yet, but I will be able to very shortly give you an exact date when we will launch it. Along with that is coming a whole new look to everything that I do. So all of my videos, my website, in fact, the website is just being torn down and rebuilt. That's going to be happening as well. So everything is going to look completely different. My videos are going to look completely different. And the way that I do things and the way that I conduct this side of my business, not my mixing and mastering side of my business, but this kind of side of my business is going to be considerably different in a really, really cool and exciting and good way. So hopefully this will be like a shot in, not a shot in the dark. That's not what I want to say, but it's going to hopefully get a lot more people involved in what I do, and hopefully it's going to get a lot of you guys involved in what I do and involved in the content that I create, because VIP is not just going to be really good. And before, when I was doing it 18 months ago and we were developing it, it was going to be really good. It really was going to be really, really good. But the more I thought about it, and the more I thought about kind of the stumbling blocks we were encountering, the more I thought, I can't put this out there because it's not good enough. And I'm going to be charging you guys that are interested, I'm going to be charging you guys money to be able to access this content. And I wanted it to be really, really not just good, not just excellent, but I wanted it to be outstanding. So that not only is it good for you, but you guys get real value for money. So that's kind of what the big announcement is all about. So first week of November, everything at jonnylipshamstudios.co.uk is going to change. And there's going to be new branding, a new look, a fresh lick of paint. The website's going to be completely overhauled. And of course, the VIP will be coming on stream as well. And so there will be, by the time we launch, there will be some stuff in the VIP for you guys to access. And over time, I will keep on adding new stuff, new courses, and challenges. There's going to be all sorts of stuff going into this. And I'm as we go on between now and that first week of November, I'm going to unpack just a little bit more of, and give you a little bit more detail as to what is going to go inside the VIP, so that you guys can, decide whether you want to be a part of it or not. Yeah, it's going to be absolutely jam-packed with tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of the best content that I can possibly create. So there's going to be challenges. I'm not going to do contests. I'm not really that into contests because, a contest means that somebody has to win and somebody has to not win. And I don't really like that idea when it comes to mixing. I'd much rather and songwriting and producing music. I'd much rather that what we did was collaborative. So I'm going to be setting you a monthly challenge that I'm going to participate in as well. We're all going to do it, me and the rest of you. I've kind of already given this a trial run with the December 10th challenge we did last year, and a good number of you participate. I think we had 10 or 12 people actually go ahead and submit their songs on December the 10th. And it was just a really great challenge, basically to say, right, we are all that want to participate are going to release one song on a specific date. And I just picked December 10th quite arbitrarily. And I put a song together, not maybe my best song ever, not maybe my best vocal performance ever, but I got it out there and I got it out to the public domain. And I led by example. And that's kind of what this is all going to be about, is me putting myself on the line. And you guys, you pay an entry fee to watch me put myself on the line. And, that may well mean that the entertainment aspect of that is that you get to see me make a bit of a fool of myself. And that's okay. I don't mind that. Providing it helps inspire, motivate, and encourage you. And so not only will you be getting access to these challenges every month, but we'll also have a monthly get-together. I've yet to decide how that's going to be done. I've got some ideas, and I'm going to try something new, a new platform that a friend of mine in Australia introduced me to. And I thought, you know what, this looks really, really good, and would actually be great for having a monthly get-together with all of my VIPs. So I'm going to give that a try, and as I say, I will reveal that a little bit later down the line as well, so you'll get to see what that's all about. I've yet got to kind of see how well it's going to work first, and if I can actually use it. It looks very, very intuitive, but that's very, very cool. And the cool thing about it is that we'll be able to actually talk to each other, not via text chat, which is great, kind of the way we're doing it here. You guys get to talk to me via text in the chat in this stream, but what I'm talking about, you guys will actually be able to interact with me directly if you have a microphone and a camera. So it's going to be great. So not only do and that'll save you guys having to type out questions. Some not everybody has really, really fast, really, really accurate typing. So for some of us, it takes a little bit longer to get out what we want to say. And of course, there's always room for error, misunderstanding, etc., when we're dealing with typing. But what I'm intending to use, this platform that I'm intending to use, I think will allow us basically to interact verbally, so that I can hear your voice speaking to me, and it would just make for a much better situation where you guys are asking me questions and I'm answering. So I think that's going to be really, really cool. So that's going to be part of it. Plus, we're going to build this nice community for all of us to collaborate on songs, collaborate on productions, mix one another's songs, master one another's songs, perform as session musicians on each other's songs, that kind of stuff, as well as all the material that I'm going to have. There's going to be courses on songwriting, mixing, mastering, arranging, music theory. I'm going to have 3 different levels of music theory courses. They're going to go up. I'm going to have a beginner one, an intermediate one, an advanced music theory course. And the idea being is I'm going to take you from not knowing a thing about how music theory works to having a real deep level understanding of how it all works and actually being able to apply it, because there's no point in having, head knowledge of music theory if you don't know how to apply it and make it work in your songs, in your arrangements, in your music. Because, what's the point of theory without practice? So that's one of the things that's going to be going up there. I'm going to get to questions in just a second, so keep your questions in the chat, and I'm going to scroll up and pick out some questions that we can go over regarding all of this. Hang on, I've got an itch. It is incredibly hot in here today. It's, what's the temperature in here just now? Temperature is 33 degrees Celsius in here, which is really, really hot. And my poor computer is suffering because it's not just hot, it's humid. And I do have fans going on. My feet are really cold because I have fans under the desk to keep everything cool. So my feet feel like they're in a freezer, and the rest of me feels like it's like in the Caribbean somewhere. So anyway, that's kind of an overview of what we're talking about. And as I say, the website is going to get an overhaul as well. There's going to be stuff on the website that you can buy directly if you decide that VIP is not for you, but you still want to have access to my course material. You can buy it directly. So that's going to go up on there as well. Plus, it's just going to look different and it's going to look great. So far, from the work that I have done with my guy that I'm talking about, he's going to remain nameless, but it's going to be really, really cool. And I will, as I say, over the course of the next couple of months, I will kind of give you a little bit of a sneak peek at what we're going to be doing and some of the new look. So there we go. That's the big announcement. I hope you're as excited as I am about it, because I am so excited. It's ridiculous. It's going to be so good. All right, let's go take a look at questions. Let's see. Let's go up to the top. Face says, when I first started Berkeley way back, my roommate bought me blank sheet of music paper as a gift and wrote for F major 7. I had no clue. There you go. Yes, your name is actually, to use music theory, it's not just F major 7, it's also all the spaces on the stave in the treble clef. There you go. Martin says, congratulations. Deer Creek says, a new lava lamp. Well, you know, I've got to launch something to be able to afford a new lava lamp. Faye says, I knew what an F major 7 was and how it was spelled, but I just didn't make the connection. Bobby says, VIP launch date. Yes, Bobby has been very consistently an advocate of VIP, and I know that he in particular would really jump at this. So first week of November, and I will very soon be able to give you a specific date that we're going to launch on. So it's very, very exciting. Let's scroll back down. Mika says, now this is exciting. All the best wishes to you on this new endeavor. Thank you very much. Shot in the arm. Yes, thank you, Bob. That's the phrase I was trying to say. A shot in the arm. Absolutely. RJ is here. RJ, my good friend, I was talking to you offline earlier, which is very cool. He says, greetings from is that Cleveland? CLE? Cleveland? I don't know. Greg is here. He says, are you going to look any different? Am I going to look any different? I might be more bold than I am right now. That is quite likely. And some of you guys are talking about being at Berkeley, which I have no experience of whatsoever, but I think Miles Davis went to Berkeley, and I'm pretty sure that Dizzy Gillespie did as well. Deer Creek says new audio and video equipment. I don't know. Maybe. Possibly. Still do the live streams with a makeover. Live streams, that's a good question, actually. Live streams will still remain. So Sunday Night Live is not going anywhere. Sunday Night Live will remain Sunday Night Live at 6 p.m. Central every Sunday, unless I'm either dead or ill. I don't intend stopping it unless people stop coming to it. If people stop coming to it, then I'll stop. But otherwise, I have no interest in stopping this at all, to be honest. So I hope that answers your question. And yes, there will be some small changes to the look of the live stream. For example, as you're looking at me just now, if you look at the background picture, if you look at the top up there, see the logo up there? That's going to be different. That's going to look different. And the background picture, which is Studio One, that may well change a little bit as well. But other than that, I think it's going to be largely the same. Or maybe the end page, the end show thing, and the so this picture here is probably going to change a bit, and this one as well is going to change. So there's going to be some new graphics, that kind of stuff. So yeah, those are the kind of things that are going to be changing around here to do with the live stream. But yeah, otherwise they are not going to stop. Just Bob says, are you going to need to upgrade your computer now? Quite possibly, actually, because I'm not entirely sure that this guy is going to take the heat of being able to do this. At least in the short term, it's probably going to have to. And then we'll see how many people get involved in this. If I get lots of people involved in this and lots of people becoming VIP members, then yes, I will quite likely be upgrading this computer to something faster, something more powerful, because I'm going to need a lot more power in the way of video editing and maybe some cameras and stuff like that. So yeah, so the more the merrier. Basically, the more people we get involved in VIP, the more the higher quality I'm going to be able to do things at, is essentially, I think, what we're talking about here. Because, it will, smacking the microphone, it will fund itself. Basically, VIP will provide an income which I can invest back into the business, and I can invest back into getting a faster, more powerful computer, a better camera, all that kind of stuff, more RAM, all that fun stuff that will just take up the quality, which is something I've been looking for a while. I mean, I'd say maybe the last year, we've seen a big step up in quality of what I do because my internet is faster. This show is much better quality than it was a year ago. Over a year ago. We're talking back in, let's say May, June time in 2018. This show was laughable in its quality because everything was in mono. It would pixelate a lot. Sometimes it would completely freeze, and sometimes audio quality was rubbish. Not just in mono, it was just rubbish as well. And so you guys really, have been through. It's twice I smacked my mic. You guys that have been through all of that on this show with me and stuck with me. You guys are amazing. You guys are amazing, because you've watched how I've gone from doing low budget, low quality shows to much better quality. And that's just with an increase of broadband speed and bandwidth and everything else. Plus, I've got a second monitor now, which makes doing everything a lot easier because I can have OBS on my second screen and it's not getting in the way of anything else. And I've got this laptop as well, so I can see the chat over here. Those kind of things are the kind of things that have been added to what I do over the last 12 months. And that's down to you guys. Your super chats, actually. Your super chats have helped a lot. Your super chats have helped me purchase faster broadband. And they've helped give us a little bit of a rent boost, a little bit more wiggle room on our rent, so that I could, so we could have a bigger house. I could have a bigger studio room, and I could have faster internet. So, you guys doing that, plus a little bit of extra revenue from YouTube has really helped as well. Advertising has kicked up a little bit, which is great. So a combination of your guys, your generosity with super chats, has been phenomenal. I've added a little bit of RAM to this computer, so, this guy is now running at 16 gigs of RAM instead of 8, which is fantastic. And we're also going to go up to Windows 10 Professional in the very foreseeable future. That is something that you guys have provided for as well. So you guys are epic, I have to say. I couldn't be doing this without you. Let's say Martin Wheat says conference Skype. No, I'm not going to be using Skype for the VIP. Turn on air conditioning. We don't have air conditioning here. We've never needed it. This is Scotland. Scotland is north. We don't need air conditioning here in Scotland, generally speaking, which is why houses here just don't have it. But, hey, global warming, climate change. It's real because, Scotland does not normally have, 33, 34, 35 degrees Celsius heat in the summertime. We just don't. We're lucky if it gets to 21 or 22. For Scotland, 22 degrees is hot. Normally. But, the last few summers have kicked up to, the mid to late 30s. Our temperature record has been broken twice in successive years, I think it is. Successive summers. Last summer we broke the highest temperature record, and it got broken again this year. So, we don't normally have air conditioning. Martin says, earlier this week, I think you are demonstrating alternative chords, C to E flat, I think. Can you elaborate on that if I'm correct? Yeah, I can do that in just a minute. Let me just make my way down to hold that thought, and I'm going to make my way down the chat and just try and get everything if I can. Deer Creek and Amika and Face are all talking about Berkeley, I think, and following chord charts. Let's see. PM Barrett is here and says, hey all, just tuning in on the playback. Well, yeah, we are still live, and we're not finished yet. We will be in about 25 minutes or so. But glad you are here. And I'm near at the bottom now. Bobby with a $5 donation. Thank you very much, Bobby. I appreciate that. That's very cool of you. Let's see. John Lake says, thank God for Sunday Night Live. I hate change. Don't change much. Don't worry. I'm just gonna. It's all gonna be around in terms of Sunday Night Live and my output onto YouTube. It's gonna be window dressing by and large. All right. So you'll see things like graphics will change, the branding will change, but fundamentally Sunday Night Live is still going to be the same show, similar kind of format, unless you guys can suggest a better format for the show. Those are the kind of changes I'll make. Changes that you want, because fundamentally Sunday Night Live is about you. It's about your questions. It's about the things that you want to learn. This isn't about me. This is about you guys. And this is the reason why I do it, is to serve you. So, if there are things that you would like to see added to the show, or there are questions or particular topics you would like me to cover, email me or leave a comment in below after the show. When the show is done and it's up on YouTube, on my channel as a video, leave a comment below. And I have a list. I have a list that I keep in Notepad, and every time I get an email of a suggestion for a topic or a suggestion of something to change, something to add to make the show a little bit more interesting, they go on that Notepad, and then I start thinking about how I can implement those changes or the topics, so I can prepare something and have something ready for you guys, and then decide kind of when that's going to go into which show. So, those kind of things help me make this a better show. So, yeah, I hope that helps. Martin says you may want to deal with the upgrade now to avoid unexpected last-minute hiccups. Well, pretty much, I'm pretty sure that the computer as it stands will be fine as we get started, and then it will get upgraded. Don't worry about that. Mika says, get your new studio/computer gear whilst you're still in the EU. Yeah, that's a good point, actually. So I've got until the end of October, really. Just Bob says, sorry if you stated this before, but what was the cost for VIP? Same as you were originally asking. Yes, it's still going to be the equivalent, currency equivalent all around the world, whatever that might be, of £10 UK. Okay, so 10 British pounds. And at the moment, the pound is almost at parity with the dollar. So you guys in the States, it's going to be an easy calculation for you. You guys that are in the EU, yeah, slightly different calculation to make, but it's, you know, the pound is going at the moment as we approach Brexit. As everyone expected, really, would happen. So, so there you go. So that's that question answered. Dacre says, if you've got a video camera instead of a webcam and a video capture card, it'd be like going from 16-bit to 24-bit audio. Huge difference. David Gnola is an example, as is Beato. Yep. All of those are plans in the pipeline. Don't have the money for them yet, but once I start getting the money in, I can go and get those things. Absolutely. Let's see. Let's go down. Martin says, I know the heat can mess with computers, but what's this? How well does the Studio Live mixer hold up in the heat? Actually, it does great. It does absolutely fine. No problems with it at all. Mike says, I could never survive without AC. The Northeast in the US sucks in the summer, especially around Philadelphia. Yeah, I can well imagine, actually. Because you're a little bit, even in the northeast of the United States, you're still a little bit further south than Scotland is. So, yeah, your summers are going to be hotter than ours, generally speaking. Generally speaking. But, you know, with global warming and all of that, who knows? Martin says, I asked as E-flat just sounds like a weird transition in C. I generally think E minor or D minor, not in E-flat. But what do I know? Okay, let's get to that question, actually, because we've got about 20 minutes. So, there's the key of C. There's C major. There's E flat. If you listen to the music, I forget who did the score for, what was it? Trying to remember the title of the film now. Cecil B. DeMille directing, what was it called? Jesus of Nazareth. If you guys have ever seen that film, or Ben-Hur is another good film, like it. Whoever was the film score composer for that. This kind of sound, this kind of shifting by minor thirds occurs a lot. Now, why does it occur? Well, the reason why it occurs in those kind of sounds is in those kind of films is because it evokes something exotic. Because E flat does not belong in the key of C major at all. You know, the only thing the only note that is common to a C major chord and an E flat major chord is the G, which is the fifth of the C major chord, but it's the major third of E flat. All right, which is why in classical music it forms part of a particular cadence. See if I can actually play it. So basically, instead of going 2, 5, 1, which is your classic perfect cadence, right? So instead of doing that, it would go E flat. Okay, very common in medieval music, and then borrowed by film composers for biblical epics and films that are set a very, very long time ago because it evokes something exotic. So there you go. And that's why it works, because it has that note in common, that G. That's the common note, so that's the kind of the linchpin for your ears, really. So it sounds weird because you're turning the major third to a minor third, but you're also removing the root and flattening it to essentially a flat 7. But now it sounds weird if I did. Doesn't sound weird now because the bass is staying on the C, which has gone from C major to C minor 7. But as soon as I change the bass note, sounds a little bit weird. Now, if I change the bass note again and play the G in the bass note instead of the E flat, you get something like this, which sounds even more exotic because it's leading somewhere else. Now that usually would resolve upwards to an A flat chord. So what sounds weird there is this major third, all right? It would sound fine if it's minor. So it kind of works if it's C minor. Is when it's C major, it doesn't really work. Not particularly very well. But yeah, the idea is to create something exotic. All right. Let's see, what else do we have? Face says, also C to E flat is almost like going from C major to C minor. Yeah, it kind of is. Martin says, my brain has that augmented 7th going on. Yeah, not really an augmented 7th. An augmented 7th is basically well, technically an augmented 7th in terms of the interval. There's a major 7. There's your minor 7, your flat 7. You can't really do an augmented because that's the same as the major 7. Okay, but if you're thinking, you might be thinking that kind of sound, this G7 sharp 5, which does actually lead to C minor. You know, you get D minor 7 flat 5, G7 with the augmented. Alright, so there's your augmented bit. Let's see. Alfred Newman, thank you, Ken. Martin said, didn't the band Climax Blues use that chord progression in one of their big hits? Probably. They used lots of interesting chords, actually. Maurice Jarre. Maurice Jarre. He did Ben-Hur, I believe. I think. Oh, argumented 7th. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Excuse me snorting there. Alrighty. I think we're kind of getting towards the end here. Yeah, Deer Creek says C to E flat is like a minor pentatonic stuff on a tangent. Kind of. It's tricky because you're going major. See, if you play it in root position, it's a bit more open, bit brighter. kind of a little bit more fanfare-like. You know, this would be standard fanfare. Or that might be one way in which the E-flat, A-flat thing would work, because you would get, when you go to the A-flat chord, that invokes something called a Neapolitan sixth, which is kind of, I think it's an Italian harmonic device, where instead of going 2-5-1, you go A-flat. So you go A-flat, G7, C. Another little cadence that you get sometimes is this one. So if you're in C, this one you get quite often as well. Sometimes you get that in game show TV themes, where you're going A flat, B flat, C, A flat substituting for 2, B flat substituting for 5. Kind of still works, 2, 5, 1, sort of. So yeah, that's another little one. Mike says, someone told me if it sounds right to your ear, it probably is. Yep. As long as you're in key, I think that was you. It might have been me, or the advice was close to it. Yeah, it's actually Duke Ellington that said, if it sounds right, it is right. And there have been various variations on that idea ever since. But he said, if it sounds right, it is right. You know, kind of screw the music theory. You might be bending the rules. You might be totally breaking the rules. But if it sounds right, then it is right. Doesn't matter about the rules in that sense. I mean, you know, the thing with music, here's the thing with music theory. Music theory is designed to explain how music works. That's all it's designed to do, is to explain to you how music works. So that, you know, when you're writing for an orchestra, or you're writing for a wind band, or you're writing for a brass band, or a string ensemble, or whatever your writing scenario is, you need to be able to apply music theory to make music work for all of those scenarios. So if I'm writing for a brass band, I need to transpose so that I'm correcting. I mean, essentially transposition is correcting for the pitch that an instrument is in. So, for example, alto horn is an E-flat instrument. Cornet and trumpet are B-flat instruments. Trombone in a brass band context is a B-flat instrument, and then you have various other instruments. Tenor horn is an E-flat instrument as well, and then you have the baritone horn, another E-flat instrument. Then you have various bass instruments and tubas and things which are either in E-flat or B-flat. French horns are in F if you're writing for orchestra, so you have to correct for the pitch that an instrument is at, so that when you want a particular note to come out of the French horn instrument, you need to transpose so that what fingering they play on their instrument, the note comes out as the sound that you want. So if you want a French horn player to play an F, then you write a C, but you write the C above because it transposes. Mostly when you're transposing, you're writing above the note that you want, not below it, most times. So, for example, alto saxophone. If you want a C to come out in alto saxophone, you write the A above it. The sax player plays their A. What comes out is a concert C. Okay? So if you want everybody in your orchestra to play that note, or, you know, their octave equivalent, depending upon the range and register of the instrument, you need to be able to correctly transpose so that what comes out of those instruments is that note and is that sound that you want. And that's essentially how transposition works. But that is music theory. And so, if you don't do that, then it's much harder for people to read your charts and for people to interpret what you want and what sound you want and what notes you want to come out. And, if you don't transpose correctly, you can end up with some very weird sounding parts that just don't sound like what you intend. So that's really all, music theory is all about, is explaining how we interpret music so that somebody else can play your music and somebody else can understand your music. Not just hear it and go, oh, that sounds lovely, which we all want. We all want people to say, hey, that sounds marvelous. That sounds really great. That really moved me on a deep level. That's the end goal. But, for musicians to be able to understand what you're doing, it's like learning a language. Music theory is the language of music. When you're learning to play an instrument, you're learning the words, you're learning the sounds, you're learning the phonetics, you're learning the verbs, you're learning the lexicography, you're learning, prepositions, you're learning verb endings, irregular verbs for past tense, pluperfect tense, future tense, present continuous tense, all of those things. Music's no different than learning French or Swahili. All of those things are involved. It's by and large the same. And music theory is just about understanding the vocabulary, understanding the sentence structure, understanding where you put the prepositions, and the subjunctives and all of that, where you put those in. And once you know how to put all those in, you don't necessarily need to fully understand those to be able to hold a conversation with somebody and be able to order a beer or, go to a French restaurant and order a glorious meal and talk to the waitress in a very polite and friendly manner. You can do that with very little understanding of all of that stuff. But, if you want to converse on a deeper level, or if you want to go beyond sort of basic conversation and into talking politics or into talking, other deeper subjects, then understanding how all of that stuff works is going to make that a lot easier. Same with music. Pentatonic scales are great. You can improvise on pentatonic scales in just about every key. And you can get a lot of places using pentatonic scales. But if you want to expand what you can say on your instrument, understanding how chords work will help you immensely. Understanding other scales other than the pentatonic scale, like the whole tone scale, like mixed Lydian mode, Aeolian mode, Ionian mode, Dorian mode, Locrian mode, and major modes as well, like Lydian, dominant Lydian, flat 9, those kind of scales. All of those things will help you say more than just pleasantries, if you know what I mean. Not that I'm saying that pleasantries are bad, because they're not. Playing something nice with a pentatonic scale or playing something really nice with a blues scale can be incredibly evocative, incredibly powerful, and incredibly effective. It just depends how far you want to go down the rabbit hole. If you want to go all the way down, then you're going to have to learn how to climb. You're going to have to learn how to use a ladder and all of that kind of stuff. Anyway, I'm rambling. Martin's asking, what would be a good bridge change up after C to E flat twice, then A flat, B flat, C? I don't know. You're going to have to experiment and try stuff out. And yes, I have been rambling. Sorry about that. Ken says, I still can't figure out how an A flat diminished resolves to A flat major, but quite simply nothing else works in my song. It sounds fantastic, but I can't explain why. Then don't explain why. Leave it as it is. If it works and it makes that sound fantastic, it's probably to do with the fact that a diminished chord is built on minor thirds, and then you resolve those to major intervals. Let's see. Let's superimpose a few notes on here and see if we can find out why it resolves so nicely. It's just tension, isn't it? That's just the most tense thing you can get in music, and you're resolving it. I mean, you could go E flat in the bass. Or you could go F in the bass. It's just tension and resolution. That's all it is, really. And so if that works for that particular moment in that particular song to emphasize a particular melody note, then great. Use it. Use it. Enjoyed the show, says Just Bob, and I'll see you all later. Gotta go. Okay, buddy. Well, thank you, Bob, for coming in, and we've got 3 little minutes to go. Mine says he's got to go and work on that song. Awesome. And Deer Creek and Mika are still chatting away about air conditioning and Berkeley, I'm assuming, still talking about. Ken says that makes sense, Face and Deer Creek, but most theories says it should be G diminished to A flat. Okay, G diminished. Yeah, that would work. Yeah. Doesn't have to be that. I mean, this would work as well. That would work. Let's see. Dickwick says G diminished is kind of sounding like a flat 7 resolving to your tonic, kind of, depending upon the chord before the G. Yes, context is everything. Diminished or double flat. Yes. Well, that's the thing. A full diminished chord has the double flatted 7. So there's major 7, dominant 7, double flatted 7. It's all minor thirds, basically. There's a minor third. There's another one. Okay? You're just resolving that tension there. That's so funny. Yes, lowest note as they may be the progression with garbage on top like they do in jazz. Right. Deer Creek, consider yourself officially banned. I'm kidding. So, I think we're pretty much there at the end of the show, folks. Let's see, how many people do we still have left hanging around here? We got 19 people. And, let's see. 19 people still here. That's awesome. Thank you so very much, everybody, for coming on the show tonight and for listening to me ramble. And also, being here and being so incredibly supportive for the announcement that I had to bring. So, as I said, over the course of the next several weeks, I will gradually be unveiling a little bit more about what is going to be going on and how things are going to look. So that when it does launch, yes, you will be surprised because, you'll get to see the whole thing. But you will also, you also have a little bit of heads up as well. Okay? So if you are not on my email list, go to the link below in the description, click that link, fill out the little form there, and add yourself to my list, because my email list are going to get all the heads up first. So if you're on my email list, you'll get all the heads up about what is to come before everybody else does, because you're my email list people and you're very, very special. And at the same time as signing up for that, you will get a compression video series, and you'll get one of my songs. You'll get the multi-track files for one of my songs that you can mix to your own heart's content. You can use that to sell your skills as a mix engineer. All you need to do with that, though, is just make sure you credit me as the artist because it is my song. So, but other than that, I'm absolutely happy for you to use it in your portfolio. No problem at all. So yeah, go get the video series, get the multi-track files, and get yourself on my email list, and you will get the heads up on all of the changes and all the things coming before everybody else does. So I will be posting up stuff about the VIP and the new branding and everything else for you guys to check out before anybody else does. So get yourself on that list. If you're not subscribed to my channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell right next door to it, and you'll know when my next videos go up. And I will be back to regular scheduled uploading of new videos going up on Thursdays. That's going to start happening again this week now that all the family chaos is all done and dusted and all my guests from the United States have gone back. So that is going to be how it will go for the next several months now. So regular video uploading on Thursdays for the most part. Occasionally I have to do it on Friday depending upon things that are going on here. And of course Sunday Night Live and Songwriting Simplified with Jonny on Wednesdays over on his channel. And that's pretty much all the stuff that we're going to be doing. Plus I'm going to be building this all new website and all new VIP in the background. Okay, folks, so on that note, Deer Creek says buy a new kilt for the grand opening. I probably won't. And fire up the pipes. I know I'm not a bagpipes player. One of my nephews is a fantastic bagpipes player, though. But I might not be able to get him involved because this would be very, very late for him. So anyway, there we go, folks. Thank you very much for coming, and I will see you on Wednesday over on the Home Studio Trainer live channel for Songwriting Simplified on Wednesday at this time. Good night, everybody. Good night.